Back in 2018, Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill allowing beachfront owners to make the beachfront areas of their property private and off limits to the public. Needless to say, it wasn't taken too well by many, but that didn't stop a lot of beachfront owners from restricting access to the beach in front of their properties. But Governor DeSantis is now changing that law and just signed a bill on Tuesday which promises to reopen sections of beaches to the public that owners restricted under the 2018 law that he signed. So this reminds me of a local YouTuber who lives down the street from me in the Indian Rocks Beach area named Juke Squad PPJT, and they took that 2018 law so literally that they put up temporary fencing around the entire beach in front of their property. The stunt received a ton of local attention from the news. There were helicopters flying overhead getting footage, and Juke Squad made a series of videos on the subject. The main video, which is this one, it received over 5 million views. Now, they knew that this was never going to stick, but that didn't stop them from having some fun with it, including the channel creator Jack, who colluded with his father to troll the local media by telling the news that his dad's name was Mike Honcho, which you might remember from the movie Talladega Nights. So his dad, who's the actual owner of their beachfront property in Indian Rocks Beach, he was interviewed by the news with his name captioned on the screen as Mike Honcho, but he didn't tell the news that it was his property. He just pretended to be a local passerby when the news stopped him for an interview. The whole stunt was elaborate. It was hilarious. They got more attention than they bargained for because the sheriff's office eventually showed up and started issuing fines for their fencing because it was against local ordinances. But anyway, I'll show a snippet of the video I'm talking about, and of course, I'll link it in the description. So here we go.
Of the beach. Now, we've already seen fences up at the beach. We'll have more on that.
Helicopter!
There's his property.
First, details on the new law limiting ocean.
Oh, wow! What? They got a helicopter shot of my house.
To parts of the beach is also generating controversy. At least one
Yeah, you can see the fence.
has already put up a fence blocking people from walking along the sand that cuts across his land. How about that? Spectrum, Venus 9, Dave Jordan joining us live now at 508.
Go.
He's live.
Yeah, what's happening? I can see that bright orange fence behind you.
Yeah, you know, Veronica, you mentioned that
This is awesome.
Fence. A lot of people are not feeling this fence. This is something that will likely play out across the state thanks to this new law, and tonight beachgoers are pushing back against it.
There he is.
What if everyone did this like this?
I think.
We were there.
Maybe not. My cameraman.
Bruce Hardy blasted Indian Rocks Beach resident Jack Tenney for putting up this fence.
Every one of these people can shut down the beach, right? So how's anyone supposed to go to the beach?
That's right, walk away. Tenney didn't engage with Ari, but he had plenty to say to us about being the face of this controversy.
So state law was put in place saying if you on beachfront property, you're allowed to make it private property.
And he's right. That law, which went
And
into
he's
effect
right.
July 1st, allows homeowners to restrict access to this area between the high tide and their property line. Tenney says the law, which some consider vague and open to interpretation, allows homeowners to set boundaries.
We've had people go swimming in our swimming pool. We've had people walk up into our yard, take floats, take chairs.
I was just in disbelief that somebody could.
There he is. Oh, wow.
There's something I want to get off my chest. I got
Oh, yeah, this is it from Talladega Nights.
Magazine, and I did it. I did a full spread for Playgirl magazine. I mean spread, man. I pulled my butt apart. You probably didn't hear about it because I went under the name of Mike Honcho.
Fence off.
Mike Honcho.
Resident Mike Honcho spotted the fence during his morning walk.
The city screwed up because nobody stopped the state law.
As of now, it appears little can be done. Tenney says he'll probably take down the fence after July 4th, but he'll still exercise his rights under the new law.
We still are allowed to declare this as private property, and we can still politely ask people to leave if we choose to.
And back here live, Tenney tells us that he did not get a permit before he put up this new fence. Now, we checked with the city, and we also checked with the state, and also one of the federal agencies responsible for environmental fences and things of that nature to see whether or not a permit is needed. We have not yet heard back.
Oh, Mike Honcho! Oh, my God!
All right. Good times, man. That was funny. That was a great video. I remember that came out when that whole law was passed and everything. Yeah, again, as I said, July 1st of 2018 was when that went into effect, and they immediately had fun with it. Anyway, the video goes on for like another 25 or 20 minutes, give or take, and it was funny. It was good times. Like they end up having to take the fence down and they threw it in the trash, and they were getting fines that were issued from the local city. But yeah, but they live down the street, like relatively down the street from me. Like I'm like just a few miles away in Seminole, but yeah, yeah, they've done lots of stunts at their property. They've done these trampoline videos where they jump trampolines into the Gulf, and those have millions of views too. But anyway, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a pretty good channel. They've done some crazy stunts in the local area. But anyway, so yeah, here is the article that I'm doing this video on, and it's from Newsweek. Florida's beaches to change under new law. What to know? And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a bill on Tuesday that promises to reopen panhandle beaches to the public, repealing a 2018 state law that allowed beachfront property owners to close off miles of local shoreline to residents. Quote, this bill is about restoring local control, cutting red tape, and putting our residents first, the Republican governor said on Tuesday during the signing ceremony at Santa Rosa Beach in Walton County. The legislation only directly affects this county, though, although it is likely to have a ripple effect on the rest of the Sunshine State, whose economy thrives on the appeal of its sunny beaches. It's a win for recreation, for tourism, and for future generations, DeSantis said. So, what is the new law all about? The bill, which is SB 1622, officially restores local authority to recognize what is known as the recreational customary use of Florida beaches, the public's ability to enjoy the beach without beachfront homeowners trying to keep them off, even when visitors are technically on private property. That includes walking, fishing, and swimming on a beach. You know, it's all part of getting a beachfront property, man. You're going to have to deal with tourists. You're going to have to deal with people. I mean, for most people who have beachfront property, once upon a time, they were tourists themselves. And yeah, I don't think it's right at all. I think if you have beachfront property, the beach should be completely accessible to the public, even if they did pass a law that technically makes your beachfront property your property up to the tide line. I mean, yeah, honestly, I just thought it was ridiculous from the get-go. But anyway, so legally, the sandy part of a beach below the high tide watermark can be accessed by the public. Above that line, beachgoers could find themselves trespassing on private property. I think that's complete crap, but anyway. But if the recreational use of the sandy area adjacent to the mean high tide has been ancient, reasonable, without interruption, and free from dispute, such as a matter of custom, should not be interfered with by the owner. So, yeah, just a stock photo of the beaches in Florida. And under the 2018 law, now repealed by the new bill, city and county authorities in Florida could not approve a customary use ordinance until they notified affected homeowners. They held a public hearing and obtained a judge's ruling on whether a private beach had been historically accessible to the public. This laborious process, which favored beachfront property owners and was signed into law by then Governor Rick Scott, was introduced after the Walton County Commission ruled in 2016 that the public had recreational use rights to the local 26 miles of dry sand beach along the Gulf of Mexico. The 2018 law effectively nullified Walton County's decision, invalidating its customary use ordinance. However, the county's commission has now been given the power to issue a new ordinance opening up its beaches to the public under the new bill. Now, let's see here, much more than a policy. The bill's sponsors have framed the new legislation as restoring Floridians' rights to access the beaches their families have walked on for decades. Quote, overnight, people who had walked on the same stretch of dry beach for generations were being told that they were trespassing, State Senator Jay Trumbull, one of the sponsors of the bill, said during the press conference on Tuesday. Quote, that's not the Walton County I know, and it's not the Florida I believe in. The people here weren't asking for anything unreasonable. They just wanted to keep doing what they've always done. Walk the beach, toss a football, build a sandcastle with their families, and instead they got confused, conflict, and courtroom battles, all to protect a simple, time-honored way of life. Trumbull said that the bill is, quote, much more than policy. It's about families, end quote. As quoted by the Tallahassee Democrat, quote, it's about tradition and restoring something that never should have been taken away in the first place, end quote. Newsweek reached out to Trumbull via email for comment. The bill, which has received the overwhelming support of lawmakers in both the Florida House and Senate before landing on the governor's desk, also streamlines the process of restoring eroded beaches in Florida's Gulf Coast counties with fewer than 275,000 residents and at least 3 municipalities. Under the new law, the state will be able to use the mean high water line as erosion control line, a move that will hasten beach recovery projects, especially after the devastation caused by frequent natural disasters. The bill took effect immediately after being signed into law. So, yeah, it seems like it's pertaining mostly to the up in the Panhandle area. Although I think that should really it should be repealed across the entire state. I don't think that private property should be considered when it's beachfront, especially when there's local public access to the beach. I mean, there's little parking lots all up and down beaches all around the state, and if you park there publicly and you walk up onto the beach, I mean, you should have access to the beach that you parked on and that you're paying to be at because parking costs money when you go to the beach these days. It didn't used to. You used to be able to park for free in many areas, but that's long since gone away. And I mean, look, these residents who claim that it's their private property, chances are they're probably not constantly keeping it clean or manicured or what have you. I mean, I guess if they wanted to be extremely uptight and they really want to be that Karen on a daily basis, constantly kicking people off and making them run away. I mean, do you really want to deal with that on a daily basis for years and years? I mean, a lot of these people, maybe they're in their retirement years, or maybe they got better things to do than just trying to yell people off of their area of the beach. To me, it's stupid, it's ridiculous, and 99% of the time, anybody who's going to be out there at the beach, they're there to either get their tan on or to go swimming, or like they said, to throw like a football or play beach volleyball or build a sandcastle. I mean, it's all harmless activity. And I just think it's ridiculous that they actually did in 2018 allow people who own private property in front of beachfront property able to not physically fence it off per se, but they were able to insist that anybody who's laying there or enjoying that part of the beach, that they had to go move on somewhere else. I think it's ridiculous. It doesn't help anybody. It's even a pain for people who are trying to constantly exercise their rights that this is my private property and you got to leave. I mean, and there were a lot of people out there that every time that somebody would even step a foot on what's considered their private beach area, I'm sure they probably called the police. I'm sure a lot of police departments were probably overwhelmed with all these ridiculous complaints that somebody's just sitting there casually hanging out on the beach, but it just happened to be in front of somebody's house. But anyway, so that's the latest on that news. As far as I know, that's the first real different, break or update or anything when it comes to this new law that was implemented way back in 2018. So maybe we will see more changes come of it, but I'm not so sure. But I guess we'll just have to see. But anyway, in the meantime, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe and like the video, and I'll see you later.